From failure to fortune, the untold truth of success. Failure, a word most people fear, a word most people avoid. But failure is the birthplace of greatness. Every success story you admire began with failure. Every empire that inspires you was once a pile of broken dreams. Every legend you know today was once an ordinary person who stumbled, fell, and tasted defeat. But here's the secret most people never understand. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the foundation of success. When you fail, life is not rejecting you. Life is preparing you. Life is shaping you. Life is asking you one question. Do you want this badly enough? Because success doesn't belong to the talented. It doesn't belong to the lucky. Success belongs to the relentless, to those who refuse to give up, no matter how many times they fall. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time. But did you know, as a teenager, he was cut from his high school basketball team? Imagine that. The man who would later become a 6-time NBA champion, a global icon, a billionaire businessman, once sat in a locker room with tears in his eyes, told he wasn't good enough. But Michael didn't quit. He used failure as fuel. Every missed shot, every defeat, every rejection became fire in his soul. He said, "I have failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed." Failure. Oprah Winfrey. Today, she is one of the most powerful women on earth. But when she was young, she was told she wasn't fit for television. She was fired from her first job as a news anchor. Fired, rejected, embarrassed. But instead of believing the critics, she built her own stage. She turned her pain into power, and the world into her audience. J.K. Rowling, the name behind Harry Potter, the first billionaire author in history. But before success, she was a single mother, broke, rejected by 12 different publishers. 12 doors slammed in her face, 12 voices saying no. And yet, she kept writing, she kept believing. And one yes changed not only her life, but the childhood of millions around the world. Steve Jobs, the man who gave the world the iPhone, the iPad, the Mac. But in 1985, Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. Think about that. The founder of Apple, kicked out of Apple. He called it devastating. But he also called it the best thing that ever happened to him, because it forced him to innovate again, to reinvent himself. And when he returned, he turned Apple into the most valuable company on earth. What do these stories have in common? They remind us that failure is not the end. Failure is the beginning. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is simple. Ordinary people quit when they fail. Extraordinary people rise when they fail. Most people let failure define them. The successful let failure refine them. When you fail, you have 2 choices. You can stay down, or you can rise stronger. Failure is a teacher. Failure is feedback. Failure is proof that you are trying. The only true failure is never starting. Think about it. A baby learning to walk falls hundreds of times. But the baby never says, "I guess walking isn't for me." No, the baby keeps trying, falling, getting up again, and eventually walks. So why do adults quit after one failure? Why do adults give up after one rejection? The truth is, somewhere along the way, we let fear replace persistence. We started believing failure was permanent, when in reality, it is temporary. Thomas Edison, the man who gave the world the electric light bulb. He failed over 1,000 times before creating a working version. A reporter once asked him, "How did it feel to fail 1,000 times?" Edison replied, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps." That's the mindset of champions. Failure is not defeat. Failure is progress. Colonel Sanders. At the age of 65, broke and desperate, He had one recipe for fried chicken. He knocked on doors, trying to sell his idea to restaurants. Do you know how many people told him no? 1,009. 1,009 rejections. But he kept going. And eventually, someone said yes. That recipe became Kentucky Fried Chicken. Today, KFC serves millions worldwide. And none of it would exist if Colonel Sanders had quit at rejection number 1,000. Do you see the pattern? Every fortune was built on failure. Every masterpiece was born in struggle. Every great life was shaped in rejection. So the question is not, will you fail? The question is, what will you do when you fail? Will you stay down? Or will you rise? Failure feels painful. It feels humiliating. But behind the pain is wisdom. Behind the rejection is redirection. Behind the defeat is destiny. Because failure is not a dead end. It is a detour. A detour that guides you to the path you are meant to walk. Maybe you didn't get the job you wanted. Maybe the relationship ended. Maybe your business collapsed. It hurts. But maybe, just maybe, life is clearing space for something better. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Every breakdown is preparing you for a breakthrough. But only if you refuse to quit. Success doesn't come to those who never fail. Success comes to those who never quit. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination. Albert Einstein was called slow and mentally challenged. Abraham Lincoln lost election after election before becoming president. What if they had quit? What if they had believed the critics? The world would be emptier. Our lives would be smaller. But they didn't quit, and that is why their names live forever. Now listen carefully. You will fail. You will be rejected. You will be doubted. And you will want to give up. But when that moment comes, remember this. Failure is not final. Rejection is not the end. Doubt is not destiny. Your future is not defined by how many times you fall. Your future is defined by how many times you rise. Think of your dreams right now. Think of the life you want. Do you really believe it will come without struggle? Without sacrifice? Without pain? If it were easy, everyone would have it. But success belongs to the few who are willing to endure the pain of failure, the weight of rejection, and the loneliness of persistence. Success belongs to the few who are willing to keep walking when others stop. Remember this. Failure is a comma, not a period. It is a pause, not the end. It is the bridge to greatness. So the next time you fail, don't cry. Learn. Don't quit. Grow. Don't fear. Rise. Because one day you will look back at your failures and realize they were blessings in disguise. They were the fire that forged your strength. They were the storms that carved your destiny. And when people ask you how you succeeded, you'll smile and say, I didn't succeed in spite of my failures. I succeeded because of them. This is the truth. Failure is not your enemy. Failure is your greatest teacher. Failure is the doorway to fortune. So don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Embrace it. Learn from it. Rise through it, because your failures today are the foundation of your fortune tomorrow. And when life knocks you down again, and it will, don't stay down. Get up. Stand tall. Smile at the pain, and keep moving forward. Because the world doesn't need more people who give up. The world needs people who rise, people who endure, people who transform failure into fortune. So rise. Rise again. Rise until your failures bow down to your persistence. Rise until your name becomes proof that failure is never the end. It is only the beginning. Failure is temporary. Quitting is permanent. So fail often. Fail forward. Fail bravely. Because every failure brings you one step closer to success. And remember, every great story begins the same way, with failure, but the ending? The ending is written by you.